Tiger Talk, your source for information about your hometown and surrounding area. Tiger Talk is brought to you by... And Tiger Talk brought to you by Whistle Stop Donuts, String Beans Coffee House, and Mrs. McLovett's Cupcakes on Lower Main in Princeton. Hancock's Neighborhood Market, Commerce Street in Katie's, delicious homemade goodness, and Perry's Floors and More.
Make the morning great with a stop at Whistle Stop Donuts on West Main Street in Princeton. Whistle Stop makes their donuts fresh daily, and they're ready on your way to work or school. They have a wide variety of fresh donuts, so you can surprise the office with a dozen delicious donuts. And remember, after 11 a.m., donuts are only $5 per dozen through August 8th. Stop by Whistle Stop today and enjoy a donut or a dozen. They're open 5 a.m. to noon, Monday through Saturday. Whistle Stop Donuts on West Main in Princeton.
And at 8:10, welcome to Tiger Talk here on WPKY The Tiger. Glad to have you along with us today. Have the pleasure of welcoming into the studios Mike Crouse and Mary Schalk, and they are with Crouse Kennels out of Dixon, Kentucky. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for asking.
Well, it's a wonderful day. I mean, you get these old cloudy days and kind of cool. You kind of think fall, and glad you're here today. This is our business spotlight day normally on Thursday, so we're going to spotlight Crouse Kennels out of Dixon, Kentucky. And I've known about this. We've promoted some of your events, your training session that you had a while back. But let's talk and begin this morning and tell us about Crouse Kennels, how it all began, the beginning, and what sparked it.
I began an interest in the out-of-doors as a farm boy in rural western Kentucky. Among the interest that I quickly gained was an interest in hunting and in dogs, horses, and other animals. Being a farm boy, as I was growing up, we had all species of animals: sheep, cattle, hogs, horses, mules, and farm dogs. I quickly found a great kinship and bond with horses and dogs as a reader and in live settings with interactions with those animals. When I became an adult, those early impressions and the experiences which my father enabled me to have caused my interest in hunting dogs, or as we commonly refer to them, bird dogs.
Right.
In western Kentucky. Those interests were heightened, and as a young man, I started hunting. As a matter of fact, I have very fond memories of hunting in Cobb, Kentucky,
Good old Cobb.
which is very nearby the Ridley family, which was a dear set of family friends, had a cattle farm, and on the farm, my dad, my brother, and I visited annually to hunt and have fellowship with that family. So interwoven within our experiences with hunting, the out-of-doors, with our bird dogs and horses, there are many, many human relationships. As we began to heighten our interest in bird dogs, my brother and I formed friendships with people locally who encouraged us to come to a little friendly competition. Friendly competition usually translates into you come compete, support the event, but we're going to win.
Yeah.
And that was the way that we experienced our first bird dog event.
Okay.
From that, Crouse Kennel has evolved over almost 50 years. And Mary Sue Schalk, formerly Mary Sue Crouse,
Right.
grew up with horses, bird dogs, and in our kennel, in addition to the bird dogs, we had Labrador retrievers, and now we have a breed which I describe as the greatest dog that God ever made, the English Cocker Spaniel. When we Americanized Cocker Spaniels, some of the intelligence, athleticism, and hunting skills were diminished. Fortunately, the English breeders preserved those, and our kennel is fortunate to have some closely associated English Cocker Spaniel descendants from those lines,
So I have
which
the bloodlines in there.
preserved the intelligence, the nose, that desire to please, that is really awesome.
And highly trainable.
Highly trainable. It's more of a matter with the cockers of being sure that you don't mess them up, because for the most part, they're eager to learn and do for you what it is you want to do. Now, with the bird dogs, because of their keen hunting instincts, sometimes more rigorous, and I don't mean by that harshness, but I mean more hours of training are necessary to polish that set of innate skills in this bird dog into a pleasurable dog that you can enjoy, and also that you can exhibit, or that you can simply take yourself on an outing in the field and leave the world behind while you enjoy that relationship between yourself, your hunting dog, and the environment.
Well, and it's interesting that you're saying that. I mean, it's just hearing you, and to our listeners that are out there that are listening, I mean, you covered a broad range of things. And I'm talking, folks, whether you want to have a dog that's trained to actually hunt in the field, or just the pleasure of a companion to take out into the field and just enjoy the company of that dog, a highly trained dog. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, you guys do all kinds of work.
Absolutely, and let me talk a little bit more about the English Cocker and the versatility and where they live just in the continental United States, and they moved there from Kentucky. There is a Crouse Cocker here in Princeton, Kentucky.
Wow.
He lives with the Jill's Giordano's family.
Okay.
So, and from what I hear from Miss Jill, he is a crowd favorite in her home. He was donated to the McEnany party a couple years ago.
Yes.
So that's where he started. But just this summer, we've sent a dog to Arizona. There's a dog that lives in Georgia, and he's a duck dog. And then also in southern Alabama, and she competes in cocker field trials, which is a shoot to retrieve. Cockers are classified as flushers.
Okay.
So whereas an English pointer is going to do exactly that, or setter, point where the birds are, and our dogs are steady the whole time. When the gun fires, they don't move until they're cued. Where a flusher will go in, a great story Dad can share in a minute about some of that, just brumble that you have to get in. The dog can get in where you can't.
Right.
And I'll let him share the story about Bo, who was our very first cocker, who I believe grandparents still reside in England. Is that correct?
Yes.
So he took Bo, along with some of our pointers, over to a wildlife management area. I'll let him share that story.
Well, see, it's interesting because I think most people that are probably listening picture a Cocker Spaniel as being that family dog that rides around in the minivan with the kids and chases a ball from time to time, can be halfway obnoxious from time to time. But what I'm hearing are these are, especially your breeds, now the English bred aspect that has the bloodline in there, that these dogs are highly skilled, highly trainable, personable dogs. Now, whether you want one, like I said, Jill's is probably a pet. Now I know that Jill's got some boys that hunt, but did I hear you right that somebody has one for a duck dog?
Yes, sir.
A Cocker Spaniel is a duck dog.
And a lot of I'll back up a few steps. Of course, I'm not 50 years old. Crouse Kennel was started way before I was born, so
Right.
I do want to clarify that. And as a
But
child,
you've been around it all your life.
Absolutely.
You've lived
And when I was a teenager, I would tell Dad if there wasn't a horse, I wouldn't be doing this. And now I'm just as involved in the dogs as the horse. I trained a horse before I trained a dog.
And let's talk about that because this is you guys do horse and dogs kind of a combo deal, and we'll get into some of the field trial aspect of this as well, which is pretty interesting because it is an interaction between a man on a horse and that dog as well. And a lot of people think that this might just be a walking situation, you're quail hunting or pheasant hunting or whatever type of hunting that you're doing with your dog. But a lot of this, the training that you all do, I think, is on horses in conjunction with the dog.
We have to expose our dogs to so many things because we not only compete in horseback field trials, and I think I can speak for both of us when I say that's probably our first love, but in the world now, the hunting, a lot of kids don't have, well, I'd say most kids don't have a dog in the backyard that they take out hunting after school.
Right.
Our clientele hunts from off of four-wheelers, they hunt off foot, they hunt out of trucks. So when we start with a puppy, we expose them to as many things as we've seen or can dream up. We train them to be patient, and we introduce them to water in the field and at the kennel. We introduce them to birds, to buckets with rocks in them. And just as I mentioned, whatever we can dream up. Just like a kid, if you kept them in a room all the time and they never saw a semi, the first time they saw a semi, they would probably crawl in a hole.
Right.
So we don't want our dogs, or our horses for that matter, to react in a way that's dangerous to a human or themselves. So and you can search online the quail hunt places, and we have dear friends in Alabama that hunt on their farm. They also have a Crouse cocker, but they hunt. It's Davis Quail Hunts. He rides his horse and handles his dogs. His wife, Miss Maisie, or one of their employees drives a mule, and the hunters ride in the mule. And when the pointers point, they get off the mule to shoot, and then the cockers retrieve the dead birds. Now, at Pine Hill Plantation, which is another one of our clients, they have a mule-drawn wagon that their hunters ride in. So there's just so many, and that's just a very small snapshot.
Yeah.
We also have clients in Texas, and I think they use a truck primarily. Is that correct?
That is correct. Hunting has evolved, as has many other elements of the lives that we all experience. In an earlier time, especially in southern locales, the owner of the property would ride horseback over the property, and that eventually evolved into taking a hunting dog on horseback. From those early activities, the horseback field trials became a component of bird dog appreciation. English cockers, bird dogs, labs are all very enjoyable when they have a foundation that's been part of their experiences, and when they have been set up for success while at the same time having structure about their lives. We start with all puppies in a very similar way. They're handled daily. They are moved to different locations so that they're familiar with either being crate trained, as we describe it, which is teaching that dog that he's okay in a small space. And then this transfers to whether or not you might care to have your dog as a house dog.
Right.
If you do want this dog in your home, then you'll want the dog to recognize where his or her space is located and be comfortable there. And the puppies that we develop quickly process and understand that being in a crate is much like humans would experience coming home and going to the den and relaxing,
Right.
reflecting, calmly enjoying some quiet time.
Just relaxing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just and that's interesting that you say that. Let's talk about your breeding operation and what you all do. You actually breed dogs, correct?
Yes.
For these type of uses, whether it is recreational home use, real hunting use. Do you also, and I maybe from the website, do you also, if someone has one of these types of dogs as a pup, do you train them as well, or do you just train the ones that you breed, that you know that the lines are there? How does that work?
We assist anyone with a dog who would like our assistance in both demonstrating and attempting to verbally convey some techniques that will help the owner and the dog both experience successes. One of our intentions is to set the animal and the owner up for success.
Right.
To do that, first of all, we want to simplify as much as possible the few basic training methods that are needed and that, if used, will make the pet enjoyable, responsive, and then as that occurs, the quality of the relationship
Right.
between the owner and the pet is heightened.
It's
we
not as
have-
stressful.
Exactly. We have a client who is in the suburbs of Indianapolis who sent me a picture of her English cocker on a sailboat in the ocean near Delaware. She and her family and their cocker had gone on vacation, and Banjo pretty much goes anywhere that they go. He has the ability to be calm when it's time to be calm, and then also he has the ability to be active and outgoing and inspire through his exuberance
Right.
some activity and some interest on the part of his owner. So it's a very beneficial relationship
Right.
which exists between owner and dog. I often say that the English Cocker will look you in the eye and say with that expression, "What can I do to make your day?" And at the end of the day, they will again look you in the eye and say, "Is there anything else
That's an awesome perspective.
we can do to make your day?" So they really are a fantastic all-around breed, useful in both hunting, but as much as anything, wonderful companions.
Yeah.
And they're very much like the chameleon. They can change colors, figuratively speaking, and adapt to the suburbs of Indianapolis, to the Arizona mountain ranges, to the Virginia hustle bustle,
Right.
to Michigan, to Tallahassee. And we have cockers that originated in Crouse Kennel in every one of the locations that I mentioned.
Wow.
You made a reference to our website and some of
Yes.
our
Yeah, let's
puppies.
talk about
and
that.
we are very passionate about our English Cockers, but I want to sing the praises of our bird dogs a little bit. And we start our pointer puppies just the same way as the Cockers and the setter. Any puppy that's born on Crouse Kennel is going to be started the same way. And you mentioned about we will help. Dad is a former ag teacher, retired education administrator, forever teacher, and it is a joy to watch him interact with visitors because he is going to teach you something, whether you want to learn or not.
Right.
But we did the seminar this past summer, and that was an open invitation for people to come and bring their dogs, their personal dogs,
And we're going to talk about that.
to learn. But when we sell a dog from our farm, it's a finished product. Now, you may call me and say, "I want a pointer puppy." And, of course, we would ask for a deposit to hold that
Sure.
puppy. And if you want them at weaning, that price is going to be different than at 10 months old.
Right.
Because we're going to take the time and invest in that dog just as if we were going to keep him to compete or hunt with ourselves. So as far as taking in a dog to train for someone else, like you bought a dog in Texas and you want me to train him, that's not our practice. But if you have a dog and you have questions, feel free to call, email. Dad doesn't like to text, so call him. But we are open to answer any questions and point you in maybe a different direction. Maybe you don't want to hunt.
Right.
So fortunately, through dogs and the connections that we've made with the dogs that we've sold all over the country, we have other resources and we know people that have trained dogs that now work for the Miami Police Department. So those are just the relationships that you
you've
develop.
built, yeah.
Absolutely.
And folks, I would encourage you. They do have a Facebook page. Right now, I'm looking at the Crouse Kennel, just their website. But there are some beautiful examples of some dogs here. Crouse's Lucy Dragon Derby, the Samurai, Crouse's Samurai Warrior. I mean, all kinds of cool breeds on here. And these dogs are award-winning dogs. They are top-of-the-line bred and top-of-the-line trained. So I'd encourage you, if this is something that you're hearing and you're saying, "Man, I've always wanted a dog like that. I want a companion like that. I want a hunting dog like that," go out there and take a look because just some fantastic examples on this website. Crouse's Dark Angel shooting dog. These are award-winning animals. These are animals that you can feel confident in that if you want to use them for whatever you want to do, you can use them that way. And just like if you have if you want a dog, you want a puppy, and you're hearing this, it sounds like no better place that you can go to get one that's developed and ready to go, and how tailor make for whatever you want to use it for, really. And of course, these breeds, you don't want to necessarily take, you can't really take some dogs that just don't have it in them. They're just not bred for that. But the dogs we're talking about are dogs that are specifically bred for those kind of uses and things. So I encourage you to go check out their website and their Facebook page as well. We'll talk more about that. But there's something interesting that I want to touch base on here in just a second. We're going to take a break. We want to come back. Let's talk about the field trial work and the interaction between the dogs and the horses and some of the things that this past event that you've had.
It's coming up.
And then you got one coming
It'll
up
be
as
this
well.
weekend. Our kickoff
Okay.
for our circuit will be this weekend.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that when we come back and let folks know what's going on. It might be something, that they're not. They say, well, I'm going to go check that out. Never seen how that works. So we'll come back in just a second. At 8:34, we are talking to Mike Crouse and Mary Schock, formerly of Crouse, and they're with Crouse Kennels from Dixon, Kentucky. It's an interesting program, and if you've ever thought about if you're a hunter, if you're interested in dogs in general, then come on back and hang with us, because we're going to have some interesting conversation about the interaction that people have with dogs, horses have with dogs, among other things. You're listening to Tiger Talk at 8:35 on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. Back in a moment. String Beans Coffee House in downtown Princeton specializes in made-to-order espresso drinks, hot, over ice, or frozen. They serve lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2. Like them on Facebook to view their weekly menu. They also rent out the back room for birthday parties, anniversary parties, and baby showers. That's String Beans Coffee House, 108 East Main Street, Princeton. Give them a call, 270-365-0550. Shh. It's Princeton's best-kept secret. Pardon me?
Mrs. McLovin's Cupcakes in downtown Princeton. It's truly the best-kept secret in Princeton. Come down and enjoy a delicious homemade cupcake made from scratch and only from the finest ingredients. While downtown, enjoy a sweet treat on the patio in front of our shop. It's a delightful way to spend a moment with a friend or someone you love. Check out Instagram and Facebook for the Mrs. McLovin's Flavor of the Week. Mrs. McLovin's Cupcakes on Lower Main in Princeton, where there's always room for a cupcake. Phone 270-963-2544 to place an order.
And we are back at 8:36 on Tiger Talk, and we have Crouse Kennels in studio. It's our business spotlight, and it's a unique business, and it seems like it's almost more. It is a business, but yet it obviously is a passion and a love as well for the outdoors, for animals. And let's talk about this event that you have coming up. You all participate in a kind of a circuit of activities in these clubs in the Ohio Valley Conference. I think we were talking off microphone. Let's talk about what's coming up this event that you all are having.
Well, this Saturday at the West Kentucky Wildlife Management Area in Kennels, Kentucky, we will have our first field trial of the Ohio Valley Field Trial Circuit. That is hosted by the Cofield Club. There are different clubs from Tennessee, primarily Western Kentucky, and Illinois. We formerly had some clubs from Indiana, but they're no longer in existence. We start in Paducah this weekend, Kennels, and we will compete until our last trial will be in March.
Wow.
And in horseback field trials, to keep things simple, there are 3 different divisions or stakes. The Derby stake is for your younger dogs, however young to 2 years old. They compete for 30 minutes and run a set course, and they are braced with one other dog. So if you and I were handling a dog, you would ride your horse and I would ride mine in front of 2 people on horseback who are the judges. Behind those judges is the gallery or the audience, and they're also on horseback. And then you would have a scout on horseback, and I would have a scout. And our scout's job is not to get in front of the judges, but to help the dog stay on course and finish their allotted time. So that's for your Derby, that's 30 minutes. Then you can either choose to go into an all-age stake or a shooting dog stake. We primarily run all-age dogs. I love derbies. I love the babies. They're finding things out, and they're doing something.
They're discovering.
Right. They're doing something new almost every day.
Right.
Sometimes you're thinking, wow, that's incredible. And then sometimes you're thinking, whoa, how's this going to turn out? You know,
He's going to take off.
Right. Or he's chasing a butterfly instead of a bird. But it's still really fun. They're really neat. The babies are my favorite. But the all-age dogs are the Cadillacs to me. They're the ones that you see in paintings, and there's a handler sitting on his horse on the hilltop, and the dog is 350 yards on the next tree line, just running to the front and looking, and then all of a sudden they turn and they style up, and it's like a statue, and it just, it just brings tears to your eyes, gives you cold chills.
Yeah, you got me chilled up.
We have, I tell people my birthday's in November, and one of our clubs in our Ohio Valley Circuit hosts a trial that's an invitational for open professional trainers, and it's the top 12 dogs in the country.
Wow.
And I was born in November. That happens on Thanksgiving weekend, and I was there. So when I was in college, I was an athlete, so I wasn't home a lot, but I've never been that far from a horse or a dog. And I have seen a dog do just what I was talking about, maybe a handful of times. And of that handful, about 3 of those times were our dogs, so that makes it even better.
Yeah.
So, but the all-age dog is your really aggressive runner. He's out there. And a shooting dog is a nice running dog as well, but probably stays a little bit closer. And your shooting dog has got to be solid, no mistakes on their bird work. And that's my perception, and that's the school of Crouse.
And these are all done on horseback.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because, again, I think a lot of us, when we picture these type of dogs or the style of these dogs, it's walking in fields, working fence rows and cornfields, and you're walking with your dog. But to realize that you can do this from a horse, and that animal, the animal, the dog, all of them are interacting, and it's a structured process and not chaotic. It's really neat.
And you're talking about that relationship between the man and the horse and the man and the dog. And, some of the things that are so important is that your dog not only cues off of you, but cues off of your horse as well.
Right.
There's an old story about an old trainer named Mr. John Gardner, and he had a big white horse, and for some reason one time he had to ride a different horse, and his dog didn't recognize what was going on because he was on that different horse.
Yeah.
Now, I've got 2 horses that I ride on a regular basis, and one's a Palomino and one's a spotted horse. Totally different. Mm-hmm. So I try to switch them up with all my dogs because I don't know which horse I'm going to be riding at what time. Now, Dad rides a big gray, and I think that big gray has more miles on it than my truck. But I'm telling you what, it makes a difference. And it's really, I'm still getting cold chills.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a cool thing to watch. But those are the 3 stakes. And back to the circuit over the course of the season. So each stake will distribute points for the winner. And it's based on the number of entries. And first place will get 5 points. That's not right. First place gets 6.
And they build throughout the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, we award a top dog in all 3 divisions. Nice. So at the end of the season.
Have a banquet, I guess, or
we do.
Yeah.
We do. We get jackets, and we had Posh here in Princeton do some of our embroidery on our jackets.
Good job, Posh.
So shout out to them.
Yeah.
But and it is a really neat experience.
See, this is so cool. I'm digging this because, to have something that's basically under your nose here, locally, and nobody knows it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people within your realm know.
Right.
But there are people listening to this go, I didn't know they did that around here, or never had heard. I didn't know you could get on a horse and interact with a dog. Again, it's just, and I didn't know that there's all these type of really good dogs that you can use for different things. You just think, okay, I'm going to take it out in the field, I'm going to hunt. But you're training dogs for just to be with a family if they want to be that
right
way.
I think too, for those just getting started, because I think it can be intimidating. Well, I don't know anything about horses. One thing I would suggest, like, come to our trial this weekend and ride in your vehicle, because we have a dog wagon, a truck that pulls a trailer with dog boxes on it. So at the end of the allotted time, we switch. It'd be a new brace of dogs, and people can watch from the road. And West Kentucky Wildlife Management Area is a really great place to do that. You can see a lot of what's going on from the roads through WMA to view and get a concept of what is happening. I think that's one reason we have an open door policy at the farm, because you can't really completely understand it until you're immersed in it.
I was going to ask you that. Is this something that somebody just listening to this can go, man, that sounds like something I'd like to get involved with? Is this something that somebody that really doesn't have much of experience or hasn't been raised around like you could go to one of these events and go, man, I'd like to start doing this?
There's always the opportunity to be exposed and to start wherever you are. So if wherever you are is ground zero with few to no background experiences, that's okay. We'll start there, and then we'll build from that to whatever level you care to go, and to whatever level you want to refine your skills. You might simply want an overview, want to walk through the kennel one time and say, okay, I can check that off my bucket list. And if so, that's fine. But if you do want to attend a field trial or see a training session and see a place where positive training techniques are now our guiding principle, then Crouse Kennel is a place where those things can happen. I think that often we all have begun new undertakings with limited knowledge and understanding, and we did the best we could. We did the best we knew how. If there's a better way of doing, if there's a way of interacting with people or animals that helps set them up for success, that helps to make it easy for them to do what you're either teaching or training them to do, or what makes life better for them, then certainly knowing ways to do that is a huge plus.
No doubt about it.
And it improves the quality of life for any and all who come through that experience.
It seems very therapeutic, whether you love the outdoors. I mean, if you love the outdoors, number one, yeah, sign me up, you know. I mean, to get out in the wide open spaces, smell the air, just experience it. But then, and I don't mean to sound crazy, but what you just described, that dog running that fence line 300 yards away, seeing it set up, so to speak, that's almost a religious experience, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Honestly.
It is. I didn't know if I could say that out loud,
Oh,
but
okay.
it absolutely
I
is.
mean, you know, not in the sense that we know.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
truly, but as far as, you know, you can look at a sunset and go, you know, there's God's work there.
Right.
You know, why can't you look at what you're talking about and go, man, that's
Oh,
such
we
a
do.
beautiful thing, and there
We
it
do.
is, you know.
We absolutely do.
You know, if you're listening to this, I mean, I'm sitting there going, man, I'm picturing all this in my head. I have no idea what it looks like, but, you know, if you're an outdoor enthusiast, if you're a hunting enthusiast, if you're a horse person, I mean, there's something there for you, and you can combine it all. If you know, if life's not where you want it to be, this is something that, man, you might get out there and it might just take you away from things for a while and just get out and enjoy it.
One of the things that we mention is that the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a person.
They smell good, I know that.
I have broadened that to saying the outside of a good dog or a good horse is good for the inside of a person. And when you have gone for a walk together, you've gone for a ride together, or you open the door to the horse barn and you watch 8 horses come in unattended, walk each of them by themselves to their respective feed stations and stand there calmly eating. You look at that, you experience it, and you say, gosh.
Oh, I bet. No doubt.
When you're watching a dog who is well behaved, you say, gosh.
Yeah.
That's something.
Sure.
And you mentioned that this is a quasi-religious experience. Without a doubt, we are the stewards of God's creation. Among his creation was animal life, the environment, wildlife, and we interact with all of those attempting to be good stewards day to day. Then at night, we lie down, we sleep the sleep of a champion. We relax, and we know that we've used that day well. Perhaps some days are going to be better than others, but regardless of whether or not it was top best ever or whether or not it was simply the best we could do with the day as it unfolded, we can take with us the calm, peace, and assurance of knowing we've used that day well. That is definitely a religious experience and an experience of interaction with an acknowledgement of, thank you, God, for allowing me to be in this place at this time, in these surroundings, and to have had this experience.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, it's good stuff, y'all. And I encourage everyone that's listening to, if you're interested in any of the things we've been talking about today, to get in touch with the Crouse Kennels, because obviously this is, it's a business for them, but this is a passion. I mean, first, I've known Mary for a little over a year, maybe 2 years now. First time I've met Mike, but I can just tell, sitting across from him here in this studio, this is a way of life and it's a passion. And if you're looking for a great breed of dog that's highly trained, highly capable to do what you want it to do, or to just participate and get involved with some of these activities that you've heard about, this is a great place to start. There's no doubt about it. Let's talk about your information. How do they get in touch with you? Where your kennel's located? And all those details as we kind of wrap up here.
You mentioned our website, which it is a work in progress, but I am proud of where it is today.
Yeah, it's nice.
But on the website, there's a tab that's Contact Us, and that sends us a form type email. Also, we have Instagram and Facebook. And, of course, you can send messages through both of those, and you will get a response within 24 hours from one, if not both of us. We've overlapped before unknowingly.
And you can see puppies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can see puppies.
And nice dogs. I mean, some really mature, wonderful dogs.
Well, the one great thing, and I'm sure you can attest to this, the social media, that's up to date. I mean, that's what we're doing right then or that day.
Yeah.
And it's out there. You can see it. last Saturday we did some bird work, and I had pictures up that day. And Dad's been working every day this week. I think I'm behind because I was out of town, but usually every couple days we've got a new post, so be sure and check it out and share it, like it, because I'm one of those people. I got to see how many people are liking it or sharing it, passing it on. Our email is simply crousekennel@gmail.com. That's CROUSEKENNEL@gmail.com. And then we go from there. I think most of that information is on the website. And also Facebook, click right on the call button and you'll talk to somebody or leave us a voicemail. Dad gets up early. He's working at the kennel all day, so later evenings is a better time to call.
Yeah.
And I do have a real job. I am an educator, so also a better time to contact me is later in the evening. But those are open, available just about any time.
That's great. And, of course, this passion is continued down, education as well. You a former educator, you an educator. It's really great, and it's nice when you can be with a family, you bond as a family and do something you love as a family, and you've grown up around it. So the passion you see is there. Are there people still, I know the habitat, especially with quail, has kind of gone down the past several years. Several folks around here, especially in western Kentucky, have been trying to build the quail population back. Do you see that is coming back? There's still people that are using dogs for quail, or is that still a little on its way back?
We see progress.
Yeah.
And much like that story that we've all heard of the fellow who's walking down the beach, picking up sand dollars, tossing them back in the ocean, someone came along and said, "Why in the world are you doing that?" The fellow said, "If I throw them back in the ocean, they'll live." The guy said, "But there are millions of those out here. You can't possibly hope to make a difference." And as the fellow tossed another back into the ocean, he said, "I made all the difference for that one."
Wow.
So, likewise, when we do a little thing that helps, maybe put a little grain somewhere along a fence row or along a piece of property that's not actively involved in farming. Take a look at the agricultural use and see if there are some ways that we can blend good agricultural production with wildlife stewardship. If we do that, we can help. We will not go back to the days of 40-acre farms with 10 different fields, wide fence rows, and weeds in crops.
Yeah.
Because we've evolved. But in the evolution, as it has occurred, we can still be good stewards, and there's a balance of enabling wildlife and agriculture to coexist. There's also the opportunity for the recreational landowner who has what is now marketed as the mini farm.
Mini farms, yes.
If you have 10 acres, you have the capacity to have some wildlife. Mm-hmm. And there's good information out there, but if you don't know where to find it, contact us, come look at the farm, and we'll be glad to show you some practices that would be helpful. As you do many of the things we've talked about today, take a lot of pictures. Take lots of pictures on this journey through life so that you will get a few really great pictures. The really great pictures you have become cement for the memories that you collect on this journey through life, and those memories enrich the trip beyond measure. As that commercial says, cost of admission, so many dollars, but experience priceless.
Yes, sir.
That is true of the things we do and the things that most everyone does when they become more intentional and more aware of what happens in and around them each day. I have looked through the ears of a good horse, figuratively speaking, from horseback to two dogs on a rope and a harness at sunset, riding in and thinking of that day and how well that day had been used. It's been a fantastic trip.
Awesome. We're going to leave it right there. It's hard to top that, but what a pleasure.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else to add?
Oh, real quick, another way to contact or check out what we do is #ShareOurSport.
Okay.
We've really encouraged the horseback field trial community to be more active in sharing what they're doing. So that's just a way. Hopefully you can Google that or click on it wherever you are.
Will take you.
That hashtag. To become more informed about horseback field trials. And I really hate to even share that after that closing statement.
No,
but
that's awesome.
but I've been there too, and it's that's exactly right. And that's what we do.
And we want you to experience this, folks, as well. So get in touch with Crouse Kennels. It's been our pleasure to have them today. Check out their field trials coming up this weekend. That's going to be down in the wildlife management area down in Kennels, West Kentucky Wildlife. Go to their website, go to their Facebook page, and check it all out. Fascinating stuff, wonderful stuff. Be a good steward, and check out Crouse Kennels. What a pleasure to have Mike Crouse and Mary Schalk in studio today. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you.
And good luck this weekend.
Well, thank you very much.
And enjoy it. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up this edition of Tiger Talk at 9 o'clock here at WPKY. We thank Crouse Kennels for being here today. What a show, what a program, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's 9 o'clock. Stick around. We've got the Sideline Report brought to you by the Times leader, Todd Griffin, in studio coming up. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouth-watering desserts sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown, homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors and More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors and More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Quality brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. There is a reason why we say you can walk on our reputation. Come see Bill and Lucy at 127 West Market Street or call 270-365-9869.
ABC News, I'm Brad Milkey. Fast-growing California wildfires have now killed 23 people, and as the winds rise today, so could the death toll.
There's an army of 8,000 firefighters out here. Many of them have been on the line since Monday. They're not even thinking about stopping the fire. That could take months, but just slowing it down and protecting key communities. Now, bad news for them. The conditions are going to worsen here, lower humidity and higher winds.
ABC's Matt Gutman in Santa Rosa. In Washington, House lawmakers expected